Max, who has some supporters, is entering his fourth term in Congress after an easy re-election in Florida's 1st District, where he has been serving since 2017. With Republicans poised to gain control of Congress in a few weeks, investigations are a top priority, but Gaetz believes that Congress should be held accountable just like the Biden White House. It remains to be seen what he means by that statement. We have recently passed the Thanksgiving season and are now approaching Christmas. As a Florida man, the only thing that makes me slightly uneasy is the sight of snowflakes falling in the background, as this is not a common occurrence in my state. It is impressive to me that some humans can survive in places where the National Guard is called out and schools are shut down due to snow. However, tonight the only snowflakes we will be targeting are the ones in Washington who are fearful and easily intimidated, of which there seem to be many. I'd like to address a significant topic that may not align with your views entirely. However, I would appreciate gaining your perspective on the matter. You and a few other Republicans have stated that you do not intend to vote for Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. I am curious about your reasons for this decision and what you hope to achieve by opposing him. Is there any possibility of electing someone else as the Speaker of the House? My observation is that approximately 98% of Kevin McCarthy's supporters are based within the Beltway of Washington, D.C. In contrast, as I travel across the country and speak to our devoted patriots, I find that they are far more enthusiastic about the prospect of Jim Jordan from Ohio becoming the Speaker. I have had Jim as a guest on my show, and I hold him in high regard, along with many other fighters. However, my concern lies with Kevin McCarthy's decision-making skills, which reveal his approach towards the ongoing battle. In my opinion, McCarthy has repeatedly failed the leadership test. At the start of this Congress, I expressed my belief that Liz Cheney could not continue as the conference chair. Kevin McCarthy, on the other hand, supported her and took several months to come around to my viewpoint. After the events of January 6th, it became imperative to expose the media and left's falsehoods and misleading narrative. I recall Kevin McCarthy circulating a motion to censure Donald Trump and urging him to resign during a phone call, which he seemed to be whining during. However, when I voiced my criticism of Liz Cheney, McCarthy accused me of perpetuating violence. This happened even when we were in the majority last time. Kevin McCarthy held the position of majority leader, but when Jim Jordan, Ron DeSantis, Mark Meadows, and I sought subpoena power to uncover the corrupt practices of the deep state, Kevin McCarthy remained silent while Paul Ryan denied every subpoena request we submitted. Despite McCarthy receiving significant support from establishment figures, Ryan has consistently supported him. The individual whom I believe led our party astray appeared enthusiastic about his speakership, but it is important to note that we possess enough votes to prevent his appointment. Rather than supporting him, we should focus on selecting a candidate who represents the conservative center of our caucus. This individual should work towards reducing the speakership's power, empowering our members, and creating a formidable force to serve our country. It is worth mentioning that even Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene, both of whom we have had on our show and admire, have thrown their support behind Kevin McCarthy. While I have known him for a long time and hold him in high regard, I believe we should consider other options. While I hold Kevin McCarthy in high regard, I recognize that he may not possess the same strength as someone like Jim Jordan. However, if we were to block his appointment, the Democrats would have the opportunity to appoint a speaker with their 212 votes. They would need 218 votes to do so, but without the support of 6 Republicans, this would not be possible. I do not believe that any Republican has indicated a willingness to vote for a Democrat, so the notion that the Democrats could appoint a speaker without 6 Republican votes is a threat fabricated by Washington insiders who desire a speaker who is beholden to lobbyists. Kevin McCarthy's supporters often tout his fundraising abilities, likening him to LeBron James in terms of his prowess in securing donations from special interest groups. No other individual extracts more money from lobbyists and special interest groups than Kevin McCarthy. In my opinion, this fact alone should be considered disqualifying rather than qualifying. Personally, I do not believe that federal lobbyists should be permitted to donate to members of Congress. It seems counterintuitive that individuals whose job is to influence our voting decisions are then allowed to provide us with financial contributions, which undoubtedly influence how we think. If Kevin McCarthy were to become the Speaker of the House, and you ended up serving on the committee to monitor the quality of Girl Scout cookies for the duration of your congressional term, there could be a significant cost. However, as the saying goes, being an apostle is never easy, and sometimes you must fight to achieve your goals. I empathize with how our constituents feel let down by politicians who merely play the game in Washington. I am exhausted by the perpetual fighting between both sides over who will serve as the special interests valet rather than working for the American people. While this slim majority was disappointing for many, it may provide us with an opportunity that a more significant majority would not have presented. This opportunity could allow us to disrupt the status quo, drain the swamp, and not trust the most significant alligators to do the job. There is no denying that everything you have said about the power of lobbyists is undoubtedly true, and this sentiment is reflected in my monologue. It is frustrating to see Republicans who, once they are in power, only want to be kind and sweet. While I would love to be the kindest person in politics, I recognize that this approach can be detrimental. It is like being on the line of scrimmage with an opponent charging at you full speed. If you refuse to hit them because you want to be kind, you will undoubtedly get hurt. If you refuse to fight back, you will inevitably get trampled, which has happened to us time and time again. While the gospel teaches us to turn the other cheek, I identify more as an Old Testament Republican, and an eye for an eye sounds appealing to me. However, there is some merit to this approach. Politics, as I often tell people, is akin to an NFL football player. They can be the kindest person who sings beautifully in the church choir on Sunday, but when they're on the field, they must be ready to fight back and defend themselves. Dijk don't men zelf sing ting viet, however, on Sunday afternoon, when he positions himself at the line of scrimmage, he must hit hard, or his NFL career will not last more than 30 minutes. So, I completely understand that if you haven't.